Shalom, brothers and sisters. Once again, this is another lesson concerning Solid Foundation Israelite Academy, bringing you guys another quick, short edition. And this is entitled Pope Francis and Hell. Now, this is from the website National Catholic Reporters. I believe that's what the abbreviation for NCR stands for. National Catholic Reporters, I believe. Okay. And we're going to go into it. Pope Francis and hell. I've been telling you guys for the longest that there is no mythological place such as hell. See, what have happened, or should I say what has happened to us collectively as a nation of people, talking about the nation of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the true Israelites according to the biblical prophecies. What has happened to us is that we have let this entertaining box known as television, we have allowed that to tell lies to our vision. That's why it's known as television, because it tells lies to your vision. It also tells a vision, like television. So anything that tell a vision for you, you're not going to be able to reason for yourselves. You're not going to be able to logically think for yourselves, because if you are being entertained by TV, you know what it's doing? It's telling a vision for you. So does television. It tells a vision for you, and it allows you not to be able to logically think. All right? Just like religion. Religion, it does the thinking for you. You cannot visualize because television, it tells the vision for you. And so a lot of us have been led to believe this mythological place is true, with flames and fire and so forth, better yet known as hell, because we are too glued to television. Now, after this lesson, you guys should see clearly that there is no hell, at least not the one Hollywood have given us. So, Pope Francis and hell. All right, social media has been going crazy with the reports that Pope Francis has denied the existence of hell. Even some mainstream media have picked up the story, supposedly based on an interview by an Italian journalist. Anyone who has followed the Pope's talks and sermons would immediately know that something does not smell right here. The Pope has, in fact, spoken of hell in the past in a way that clearly indicates that he believes in it. In 2014, the Pope mentioned hell when calling the mafia to conversion. In 2016, he said that people who do not open their hearts to Christ will end up in condemning themselves to hell. The same year, he referred to hell as the truth and described it as being far away from the Lord for eternity. Okay? And the Pope is just being facetious here, guys. The Pope is just cracking jokes and telling lies here, y'all. Because the Pope, I'm going to read something to show you guys that the Pope finally came out and exposed the truth of hell. The most extensive PayPal explanation of hell came in response to a 2015 question from a female scout who asked, if God forgives everyone, why does hell exist? So this is what a female scout asked the Pope. If God forgives everyone, why does hell exist? Pope Francis acknowledged that this was a good and difficult question. So this female scout asked the Pope a very challenging question. If God forgives everyone, then you tell me why the hell does hell has to exist or have to exist? This is the Pope response. Now listen up, guys. This is what the Pope responded. The Pope spoke a very proud angel who was envious of God, reports Catholic News Service. The Pope said it was a very proud angel who was envious of God, right? He goes on to say, he wanted God's place, said Francis, and God wanted to forgive him. But he said, I don't need your forgiveness. I'm good enough. This is hell, explained the Pope. It is telling God, you take care of yourself because I'll take care of myself. They don't send you to hell. You go there because you choose to be there. Hell is wanting to be distant from God. This is out of the Pope's own mouth. This is out of the Archbishop's own mouth. The Pope over the Catholic Church, the Vatican, he said hell is wanting to be distant from God because I do not want God's love. This is hell. So basically, the Pope explained to the female scout. He says, I'm going to tell you truly what hell is, because all that other rubbish stuff, all those other rubbish statements I made, I was basically just being facetious. All those other statements I told, they was just jokes and lies. But I'm going to tell you truly what is hell. And he finally came out and explained to that female scout what is hell. And he said it. He said hell is wanting to be distant from God because I don't want God's love. This is hell. So basically, when you choose to separate from the Most High, you create hell. Let's go on with the story. Most contemporary theologians, all right, would agree with the Pope. Hell is not about fire and brimstone. Hell is not about fire and brimstone. Wow. It is about our freedom to say no to God. Our freedom to reject love and choose loneliness. If you believe in freedom, you have to believe in hell. You see that? If you believe in freedom, you have to believe in hell. So why is it so far-fetched for you guys to believe that America is hell? You're going to tell me America is not personified as the land of the free, home of the braves? America is not classified as the land of freedom, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on top of freedom? You ever heard this before? This is a free country. Okay, the Pope says, if you believe in freedom, right here, if you believe in freedom, you have to believe in hell. So America, aka Babylon, is hell. Why? Because it's classified as the land of the free. And if you want to be free, you have to believe in hell. If you believe in freedom, you have to believe in hell. Because you cannot be distant from God and do your own thing and think not you created hell. When you separate and section yourself off from the Most High, you automatically, by default, create hell. Because it's telling God you don't want a damn thing to do with him. See, God gave us the law, statutes, and commandments. I'm going to show you guys this in a few minutes, because I'm going to capitalize off the Pope's explanation. So the Pope clearly said it, it's a done deal. If you believe in freedom, you have to believe in hell. So if you don't want to do God's commands and keep his laws, then you believe in freedom. You believe doing your own damn thing. And if you believe in freedom, you have to believe in hell, because no one created the hell but you, when you choose to be distant from God. See, listen, when we close our hearts and tell the world to go to hell, we are in fact choosing hell for ourselves. Hell is the absence of love, companionship, and communion. We are not sent there. We choose it. God did not create hell. We did. Wow. This is what the Pope stated. All right. Show you guys an image. Here's a portrait of the Pope. This is Pope Francis. This is the guy that finally came out to say that hell is when you choose to be distant from the Most High God. Hell is telling God you will do your own thing. You don't need his forgiveness. This is what he tells the female scout who asked the question, if God forgives everyone, then why is there a necessity to go to hell? Pope Francis came out and told the truth. Okay, so you create hell when you choose to be distant from God. God didn't create it. He never created it. We did. Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, we created hell when we choose to stop keeping his commandments. And when we wanted to do our own thing, from that point, we created hell. All right? So, guys, I hope you enter, and understand the Pope's statement, his explanation concerning the website, National Catholic Reporters. Look up that, guys. And I don't know what to say after this one, man. Because if you still believe in an unknown mythological place, such as suffering eternally and forever being condemned, then you need to wake up. You need to, I need to shake the bed a little bit more. You know, I need to ring the alarm a little bit more. Because it's clearly been stated, guys. I'm going to go into the Bible now, and I'm going to select book, chapter, and verses as my claim, to state my claim on the top of capitalizing what the Pope stated. So the Pope said that when you choose to be distant from God, then you create what you call your paradigm of hell. So let's get a book, chapter, and verse in the Bible for that. Okay? All right, guys. Open your Bibles up. Turn to Genesis chapter 2, verse 16, if you will. I am going to go ahead and read it. And the Lord God, the Most High, commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou may freely eat. Genesis 2 and 17. But of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, for the day that you eat thereof, you shall surely die. Now, what is death? This is Genesis 2 and 17. So it looks like the Most High gave some rules and regulations to the Adamite nation. Now, the Adamite nation was the chosen people from the foundation thereof. They was known as the Adamites. Okay, and it was more than just one Adam and Eve. It was a lot of Eves and a lot of Adams, just like it is today. And that nation collectively was called Adam and Eve. But what did God tell the Adamites in the Garden of Eden? He said, look, here's the deal. Here's the thing. Okay, I'm going to give you some laws, statutes, and commandments to go by. One of the laws, statutes, and commandments to go by is not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But if you choose to eat thereof in that day, you eat thereof, then that's going to be the day you shall surely die. Now, did not Pope Francis state that when you choose to be distant from God, you create your paradigm of hell? So when the Adamites decided to not follow instruction from the Most High, because he tells them not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, he tells them not to eat of it. But eventually we know that they did partake in the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So when you choose not to follow the instructions of the Most High, you create your own paradigm of hell. See, hell is something that you create, guys. The Most High does not send anyone to hell. Brothers and sisters, we send ourselves to hell. But remember, it's not a mythological burning place with sulfur, fire, and brimstone. So what is hell? We already saw, according to the explanation that the Pope gave, he said hell is when you choose to be distant from God. So if you believe in freedom, then you must certainly believe in hell. Well, Adam and Eve, the Adamites, they wanted their own freedom. They did not want to abide by the Most High's commandments. And so they partook in the tree even though he told them not to. So everything you do in this life, there is a cause and effect. There is an action and a reaction. Okay? So everything you do in this life has some type of cause and effect. Now, the cause was Adam and Eve, the Adamite nation collectively. The cause was them partaking in the tree when God told them not to do that. So what's the effect? The effect that came afterwards was hell, because from that point, everything went downhill. Basically, Adam and Eve was cursed. This is what the Most High is telling them. For the day you eat thereof, thou shalt surely die. Meaning that you're gonna be cursed. This is not talking about a literal death. Even though we die, we all die. We all die. There's a expiration date to all of us. So we all die. That's plain and simple. But in Genesis 2:17, when he says there, if you eat thereof, you shall surely die. He's not talking about death in terms of someone's life declining. It's not talking about that type of death. It's talking about a curse. If you eat of this tree when I told you not, you will be cursed. But in Genesis 2:17, it just said, thou shalt surely die. Let me give you the precept to that, guys. This is Deuteronomy 30:19. Now remember, guys, the Most High tells the Adamite nation that if they partook of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that they shall surely die, right? Well, this is the precept to when I was talking about death. It's not an actual death in terms of someone's life declining, but it's in terms of death, which means a curse. Deuteronomy 30:19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. So, as you can see, the Most High revealed to Moses this book, chapter, and verse here, Deuteronomy 30:19. And he told Moses to go and tell the children of Israel, Deuteronomy 30:19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you. So everything you're doing is being recorded, man. Everything you're doing is being recorded. You ever heard of the Akashi records? Everything you do gets stored in the cosmic terminal. The luminaries, the sun, moon, and the stars, they wasn't created just to give light upon the earth. They was also created to keep track of your wrongdoings. It's called it's called the terminal. I believe it escapes me right now. But the sun, moon, and stars was also created to record the wrongs that you do here upon the earth. The cosmic terminal. That's what it's called. The cosmic terminal. What you would call the ether. All right. Everything you do is being recorded. Deuteronomy 30 and 19. So I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death. So the Most High says that he set before us life and death. He set before us life and death, right? He's not making us do anything. He just placed that before us, life and death, blessing and cursing. Now, why right after life and death it says blessing and cursing? Because life equals a blessing and death equals a curse. See? So life and death is followed by blessing and cursing. So what is life and death? Blessings and curses. If you choose life, you are blessed. If you choose death, then you are cursed. This is why the Most High tells Adam and Eve that collectively the Adamite nation in Genesis 2 and 17. He says, but the tree of knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eat thereof, thou shalt surely die. He wasn't talking about a natural physical death. He was talking about thou shalt surely die, meaning that thou shalt surely be cursed. Because death is also in reference to someone being cursed. So if you are a cursed nation, you are a nation of people that is dead already. Not physically dead, but spiritually dead. You see? So this is the true over-entering understanding to show you guys that God never created a hell. We created it when we choose to be distant from him, just like the Pope stated. Because the Adamites did not have to partake in that tree of knowledge of good and evil. But when they did, they didn't follow instruction, automatically sectioning themselves off from the Most High. And when you section yourself off from the Most High and choose not to follow his instruction, you create your own paradigm of hell, man. All right? I'm going to show you something else, guys. Let's take a look at it's a good lesson, man. Hope you guys are taking notes. Deuteronomy 11 and 26. Let's look at that. Deuteronomy 11 and 26. Let me put that in right quick. Deuteronomy 11 and 26. Behold, I set before you this day blessing and a curse. You see, so he set before us the blessings and he set before us the curses. So the Most High didn't create hell for us. Hell meaning a curse. When you are a cursed person, you are in hell. When your life is not a-okay, but everything in your life is negative, everything in your life is contrary to positive, then you're cursed. The nation of Israel became a cursed nation, man, because they distanced themselves off from the Most High. So we created our own paradigm of hell. Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, we created this hell that we're in. When we choose to be distant from God, just like the Pope said, man, when we choose to tell God, it's like telling God, I don't need your forgiveness. I don't need your help. I'm fine. I would do my own thing. So we choose freedom. And when we choose freedom, freedom for what? Freedom from God, laws, statutes, and commands. When we choose that freedom, when we choose that liberty, we created our own paradigm of hell collectively as the nation of Israel. And this is why blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, this is why you are at the base. This is why you consider at the base. This is why we as a nation of people today are not a prosperous nation, because we choose to be distant from God. So the Pope didn't say anything wrong concerning that statement when he told that female scout. Hell is when you choose to be distant from God. Deuteronomy 11 and 26, because he set before us the blessing and the curse. Deuteronomy 11 verse 27, a blessing if you obey my commandments. See? So God is not forcing us to keep his commandments. You have the alternative. That's in your hands. God is not forcing us to do anything. He doesn't have to force us to do anything. Deuteronomy 11:27, it says, a blessing if you obey my commandments. See, so it seems like long as we was riding with God, long as we was communion with God, long as we was conversating with God, walking with God, following the steps of God, we was socializing with God, long as we was God pal, long as we hold hands with God, it seems like he says in Deuteronomy 11:27, a blessing if you obey my commandments of the Lord your God, meaning that he's the God of the nation of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, which I command you this day. Now, what if you choose to be distant from God, like Pope Francis said to that female scout? Telling God you don't need his forgiveness, telling God that you want to be free, you don't want to do anything in terms to his statutes and commandments. What if you choose that? Well, here it is. Deuteronomy 11:28. It a curse if you will not obey the commandments. So, you know what's funny? The Old Testament never taught about hell as being a direct, excruciating place of tormented pain eternally. No, it seems like the Old Testament always talked about hell in reference to a curse, because it says Deuteronomy 11:28, it a curse if you will not obey the commandments. So basically, keep the commandments. Deuteronomy 11 verses 27 and 28. You will receive blessings if you obey the commandments. You will receive curses if you reject the commandments. That's your heaven and hell. So what is heaven and hell? Blessings for heaven. Hell is curses. To be cursed is to be in hell. To be blessed is to be in heaven. We collectively, as the nation of Israel, we traded out blessings for curses when we choose to forfeit the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. It's right here in your face. So if someone is telling you, I don't understand what is heaven or hell, here it is. Deuteronomy 11 verses 27 to 28. Deuteronomy 11:28. And a curse if you would not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside out of the way. What does that mean, to turn aside out of the way? That means to go AWOL. That means to section yourself off from God. That means to distance yourself off from God. So Pope Francis was 100% correct on what he stated. He said, you create your hell when you choose liberty, when you choose freedom from God. When you choose to be distant from God, when you telling God you want to do your own thing, when you're telling God that, hey, I'm good, I'm fine, let me be solitary. So God say, okay, if you want this, then you choose to be in freedom, then you got to create a hell. You have to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's the only way you will stay in heaven, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. You have to keep God's commandments, because this is what connects you to heaven. The commandments connects you to heaven. Breaking the commandments ties you to hell. So we don't need to flip in no New Testament to try to break down the over, enter, and understanding of heaven and hell, because the Old Testament came before that. And what's in the old is just a reflection in the new. Never in the Old Testament it talked about the hell that Hollywood have led you to believe. So it says in Deuteronomy 11:28, and a curse if you would not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside out of the way which I command you this day to go after other gods which ye have not known. So to turn aside and go of the way, to turn aside and go out the way of the commandments is to be distant from God, creating your own freedom, which is your own paradigm of hell. So that's what really hell is. It's when you choose to be distant from God, when you choose to separate from God. Automatically you create a hell, aka a curse. You bring a curse over your life, which you would never be the same, because everything you put your hand forth to do, you will be cursed for breaking God's commandments. This is what happened to us as the nation of Israel. We was cursed. Deuteronomy 28:15. Let me show you that, guys. Deuteronomy 28:15. It's not hard at all. It's really not hard at all. This is a cheesecake walk, guys. It's not hard at all. Now, some clergymen, ministers, evangelists, some would make it hard. It's not hard, man. Deuteronomy 28:15. This is what the Most High said. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord. If you will not listen unto the voice of the Lord, the Most High, your God, the God of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, Native Americans, and to observe to do all his commandments. If you don't do all my commandments, if you don't keep all my commandments, if you don't subscribe yourselves to my commandments and my statutes, which I command thee this day, which I command you, no ifs, ands, or buts. This are commands. This is mandatory, which I command you this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So that is the true explanation of hell. Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, collectively as the nation of Israel, you are in hell because you are cursed. You are cursed. And then after Deuteronomy 28:15, it has all these other verses going all the way down to Deuteronomy 28:68. And neither one of these verses are good. Cursed shall thou be in the city. So basically what it's saying, hell is going to be for you in the city. Deuteronomy 28:16. Hell is going to be for you in the city. Hell is going to be for you in the field. No matter where you move. I don't give a damn if you move to Canada, Colorado, New York, Louisiana, North Carolina, South Carolina, and I don't care where you go. Wherever you migrate, you're going to be cursed in the city. Meaning that you will be living in the ghettos. You will be living in low-class environments. You will be in the slums. Trash in your communities. Graffiti on the walls. Drug abuse in your communities. Crack cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, pills, drugs, black on black crime, gang violence, guns, you name it. Curse shall you be in the city. Basically, in the city is going to be hell for you. Curse shall you be in the field. Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, Native Americans, as the Israelites. Your ancestors cultivated the fields for the slave masters. They was cursed. So it's going to be hell for you in the field. It's going to be hell for you in the cotton fields. This is what they did to our ancestors. This is what the white people did. Deuteronomy 28:17. Hell is going to be for you concerning thy basket. Meaning that you would not have enough of savings. Your savings account. Your finance would be cursed. Your money would not be long anymore. Your money would be short. Okay? Deuteronomy 28:18. Hell shall be for you concerning the fruit of the body, which is your children. Your children going to be in hell. The fruit of thy land. Your land is going to be cursed. Because other nations of people will get above and take your crops. Will take your cattle. That's why it says, all these curses in Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68, these are different variations of hell. Because guess what? We choose it when we choose not to keep the commandments. We choose this. We chose this. All this stuff from Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68, every last one of these curses fit blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. So what is truly hell? Your hell is Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68 that you created when you chose to be distant from God and you said you didn't need his help. You do your own thing. Okay? And when you die, you don't go to hell because you're already in it. Simply, this is where you go when you die. This is probably the last verse I'm going to give, guys, and I'm going to close out. Ecclesiastes 12:7. Let me show you this, guys. Let me show you this, man. It's really simple. If you are logically thinking, it's really simple. Ecclesiastes 12:7. If you are logically thinking, it's really simple, guys. This is a tricycle ride. It's really simple. Ecclesiastes 12:7. So if you're wondering where does the soul go after death, here it says, then shall the dust return to the earth. Ecclesiastes 12:7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, Because all the elements in the earth can be found in your body. Okay, you have iron in the earth, silver, aluminum, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon. All those elements in the earth can be found within the human being. So, what happens when you die? Ecclesiastes 12:7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it. It did not say, it didn't say nothing about the spirit going to this Greek mythological place, this Roman Greek Catholic mythological place, so you're in reference to your soul burning eternally. No. The spirit, it will return to God who gave it. So basically your spirit returns back to the universe when you die. And then eventually it comes the appointed time for you to be reincarnated to play out your judgment concerning the things you did in this life in the next life. That's how that thing works. I'm not going to go into reincarnation, but that's how it works. Everything is eventually reincarnated, and the decisions that you make in this life determines your next life. All right. So actually, you are creating your next life right now by the decisions you make. You see, and you are being judged in this life for a former life. Whatever you did in your former life, you are playing out the judgment in this life. That's how it works. So, guys, hope I was a bit help to you guys concerning that statement that Pope Francis made to the female scout. He clearly came out and finally told the world that there's no place as what you would call hell, as with demons, druids, jinns, and devils tormenting a person for eternity. All right. And like I said, even if you still find it hard to believe, last verse I promise, guys, even if you did find it hard to believe, you say, I just can't get with that, man. I know what my pastor preached. I can't get with that guy. I know what my pastor taught me. Okay, well, consider this. Even if you still saying, if you're still saying there's a hell, Revelation, if you look at Revelation chapter, I believe it's Revelation 20 and 14, guys. If you look at that, let me type that in. It tells you that Revelation 20 and 14, if you still want to just believe in this hell. I'm trying to change your world. I'm trying to change you guys' world to the truth. Revelation 20 and 14. Okay, consider this. Revelation 20 and 14. And death and hell was cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. The first death was the flood that drowned out humanity and spared 8 people. So that was the first death was the flood during the days of Noah. The second death would be thermonuclear destruction. So Revelation 20:14, and death and hell was cast into the lake of fire. It says death and hell was cast into the lake of fire. So if hell is a place where individuals go and literally burn, why is it being cast into the lake of fire? If hell is a place that consists of flames, fire, and brimstone, then why is it being cast here into the lake of fire concerning Revelation 20 and 14? You see, it doesn't make any sense because I'm telling you guys the truth. Death and hell was cast into the lake of fire. What is the lake of fire? If hell being cast into it. I thought hell is the place where you suffer eternally for your sins. See, it's all bullcrap, guys. Read more, man. Study the Bible. Show yourselves approved. Till next time, please like, comment, and subscribe concerning Solid Foundation Israelite Academy. Also, check me out Twitter, YouTube as well, Shabar Israel. It's been nice, guys. Please share the video. Help others. Shalom.